I don't like these cheap shots, though. She got gouged in the eye. Cheap shots can't be happening, and it always happens. No. Caitlyn is certainly going to be a storyline. She's a star. She's a dog. And WNBA seemingly on the rise. I'm happy she's got Sophie on the team.
Yep.
She needed that.
She got clawed in the eye, then body checked like she was playing in the NFL, not the WNBA. While the refs swallowed their whistles and the league stayed silent, Pat McAfee, he exploded.
Marina Mabrey, who knocked Caitlin Clark down. Definitely the W, especially if Sophie Cunningham is going to continue to fight people for messing with Caitlin Clark, because it feels like Caitlin Clark is going to get treated in a certain way in this league for a long time. She's not a rookie anymore. I'm happy she's got Sophie on the team.
Yep.
She needed that.
The second Marina Mabrey blindsided Caitlin Clark, McAfee lit up live TV. He tore into the cheap shots, the fake toughness, and called out the league's failure to protect its brightest star. But that wasn't all.
Caitlin Clark was just assaulted bad. This is the worst one ever, bro. She was literally poked in the eye, then pushed to the ground by Marina Mabrey.
He turned the spotlight to Sophie Cunningham, the one player who actually stepped up. In a league full of silence, McAfee made it clear. If you come for Caitlin Clark, you answer to Sophie now.
The Fever and the Connecticut Sun got into it a little bit last night. Obviously, it all started with an eye gouge into a knockdown from J.C. Sheldon.
Caitlin is up there with the MVP, probably with Big Feast out in Minnesota.
I don't like these cheap shots, though. She got gouged in the eye.
Yeah, big time.
Gouged in the eye.
It was an intentional eye gouge.
This all started with a play that should have never happened. Clark was locked in, dribbling up the court, when J.C. Sheldon swiped her not at the ball, but right across the eye.
Mind you, J.C. Sheldon has been hitting Caitlin in the face all game, fouling all game. The refs don't care. The refs act like their whistles are broke. She's fouling her nonstop again, hits her in the face.
Clark stumbled, holding her face in pain, but before she could recover, Mabrey came crashing in full speed hip first like a linebacker on a blitz. Boom. Clark hit the hardwood. The crowd gasped.
Marina Mabrey, who knocks her down.
Mabrey just goes and shoves her onto the ground.
Marina Mabrey, this is ridiculous.
The cameras caught it all. The refs? Frozen. But Pat McAfee? He was fired up. Live on air, he roared. That's not defense. That's a cheap shot.
I don't like these cheap shots, though. She got gouged in the eye.
Marina Mabrey basically just did what Kennedy Carter did on a whole nother level.
You claw her in the eye, then slam her to the floor? That's not tough, that's trash, McAfee blasted. No filters. No soft takes. Just the brutal truth. Caitlin wasn't being defended, she was being hunted.
If J.C. Sheldon intentionally scratches somebody in the eye, there's no question about that. That is intentional. If you want to call Mabrey's a flagrant one, call it a flagrant one. Mabrey's should have been a flagrant two. But J.C. Sheldon's is, no question about it, ejection and suspension.
The league's response? A couple texts. One flagrant. No ejections. No real punishment. Somehow, even Clark, yes, the one who got assaulted, got hit with a technical too.
Caitlin Clark, Marina Mabrey, Tina Charles were assessed with technical fouls on Tuesday. Caitlin, Marina, and Tina Charles. Technical fouls. That's it. Technical fouls. That's it. And J.C. Sheldon was assessed with a flagrant 1 foul, and no players were ejected.
That's when the floodgates burst. Fans were outraged. Analysts stunned. And McAfee? He called it exactly what it was. A damn joke.
She's the one.
Yeah.
She is everything. She'll get after the refs. She'll get into some scraps. And immediately afterwards, she said, I'm here to talk about basketball. I mean, she's a needle mover.
He said what everyone else was too afraid to. Caitlin Clark has been taking hits like this since day one. Elbows. Shoves. Late fouls. Cheap shots. Every game.
So many of these incidents are happening towards Indiana Fever players, particularly Caitlin Clark.
And while the refs keep looking the other way, the league keeps cashing in on her fame without lifting a finger to protect her. But this time, someone finally had her back.
I'm happy she's got Sophie on the team.
Yep.
She needed that.
Sophie Cunningham gives a take foul, a very hard one. She straight up tackled J.C. Sheldon.
Sophie Cunningham had enough. Oh, yeah. Sophie Cunningham had enough. Folks, shout out to Sophie Cunningham. We wanted somebody like this that said, I'm tired of this. I'm trying to step up. It's time to step up. We're not going to get punked anymore. We're not going to get pushed around anymore. We're not going to get treated like a little sister anymore, like a little brother anymore. We are going to start being the ones that say, you know what? We're not going to start the fight.
And McAfee made sure everyone in the country saw it. Because while the refs ignored the chaos and the league handed out weak penalties, Sophie Cunningham made her move.
She's got an enforcer on the team now, and a black belt having Sophie Cunningham.
For months, fans begged for someone to step up, to put an end to the bullying. It was always the same story. Clark gets hit, gets fouled, gets left alone. But not this time.
JC Sheldon is guarding Caitlin, swipes her in the face. There's one. Going for the ball, swipes her in the eyeball. Caitlin's gonna have to start wearing goggles. And then Caitlin pushes her off of her. Like, why are you still in my face? Marina Mabrey, bat out of hell, chucks Caitlin Clark to the ground.
When Sheldon lunged again, Sophie didn't flinch. She met her mid-drive, locked her up, and sent her crashing to the ground. Strong, intentional, unapologetic.
I'm happy she's got Sophie on the team.
Yep.
She needed that.
Yeah. Slam her to the floor. Slam her through the floor. Y'all want to play dirty? Sophie gonna hold it down.
I'm clapping Sophie Cunningham off the floor. We're clapping Sophie Cunningham off the floor right now. We're clapping her off the floor. She's getting high-fived off the floor right now.
Sophie Cunningham gives a take foul, a very hard one. She straight up tackled JC Sheldon.
Sophie tries to wrap her up, and Sheldon gets to the floor, and all hell breaks loose.
The arena erupted. Benches stirred. And in that moment, Sophie became more than just a teammate. She became the enforcer Clark had desperately needed. McAfee put it perfectly. You poke her in the eye, shove her to the floor, boom, you eat the deck.
The Fever know that they're targets.
Yeah.
Caitlin understands it at this point, and I love that she is yet to waver. It's just like, singular focus of next game, I'm getting back.
I'll take the foul, Sophie seemed to say, but you're gonna feel it. McAfee compared her to Udonis Haslem, Dennis Rodman players who didn't light up the scoreboard, but lit up anyone who came for their star.
Fever team's filled with stars.
Oh, yeah.
And this wasn't just chaos. It was controlled. Strategic. McAfee reminded everyone Sophie's a black belt. She didn't throw punches. She didn't swing wildly. She just stood her ground and barked back.
Double team, step back, sideways.
Fuck it.
How you doing? Keep it moving. Then how about her to the bench afterwards with a?
You like that?
Yeah, it was a. You like that, but that last one right here, this is a. Oh, she punches herself, and she basically says, like, yelling in the face, like, "Fuck with me," basically. It was awesome.
2 players got in her face. She didn't back down an inch. Not out of anger, but out of loyalty. That's the difference. This wasn't petty. This was protection. A message. From here on out, Indiana wouldn't be pushed around.
That's about star power, narrative, and likability.
If you come for number 22, you're coming through me. That's the line Sophie drew. And McAfee? He didn't just highlight it, he celebrated it. Because finally, someone did what the league refused to do. Protect Caitlin Clark.
She's one. She's a needle mover.
Caitlin is the one.
No comparison to Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is the most must-watch basketball player in world basketball right now. There's nobody that does what Caitlin Clark does.
She's the biggest basketball star in the world.
How special and rare Caitlin Clark is.
Caitlin Clark is obviously, she's a scorer. She can shoot from anywhere, but her passes, like, it's something very different as well. Like, if you're playing with a Joker, LeBron, Luka, those stuff, like, you got to catch and finish. I mean, that's 4 or 5 more assists, obviously 10, 12, however many more points.
And that hit Sophie's hit changed everything. It wasn't just physical. It flipped a switch. Suddenly, the Fever weren't just defending, they were rising. The energy changed. And so did Clark.
This is Caitlin Clark. She's going to hit a big 3, and you can tell the emotions are high. The Indiana Fever announcers, I will give them credit. That incident with Sophie Cunningham is a direct byproduct of the fact that situation earlier was not handled correctly. It goes to talking shit towards the Connecticut Sun bench. That was a clear message from CC22 right there. This team's had enough.
She came back on the court not rattled, not scared, unleashed. The very next play, She pulled up from the logo. Deep. Ice cold. The ball flew.
Double team, step back, sideways. How you doing? Keep it moving. Then how about her to the bench afterwards with a?
You like that?
Yeah, it was a. You like that, but that last one right here, this is a.
Shoot.
She punches herself, and she basically says, like, yelling in the face, like, "Fuck with me," basically. It was awesome.
Swish. No grin. No smile. She turned to the Sun bench, fire in her eyes, and barked. You like that? That wasn't just a shot, it was a warning. McAfee lost it on air. That's a flamethrower. That's a silent assassin.
Clark scored 32, dished out 9 assists to become the first player in WNBA history to have 100 points, 30 rebounds, 30 assists in a player's first 5 games of a season.
She didn't whine, didn't crumble. She answered the only way a star should, with buckets, with swagger, and with a message the league couldn't ignore.
I said earlier, Caitlin should just literally go overseas. There's a couple places overseas where they would pay her probably $2 or $3 million, maybe $5 million a year.
But here's the most important part. This time, Caitlin wasn't doing it alone. Sophie had her back. The team rallied. The crowd got loud. And Caitlin? She fed them right back. Another 3, another assist, another rebound.
Look at Sophie. She's waiting for it. She's waiting for it, fam. And then I see why Allen got kicked out. Allen went for the throw.
Social media erupted. Clips of the foul, Sophie's response, and Clark's comeback went viral. Twitter, TikTok, YouTube fans weren't just praising her toughness. They were praising Sophie. The new sheriff had arrived.
Sophie Cunningham. JC Sheldon going up for a layup, puts her head down like a running back, exploding through the hole. Sophie Cunningham wraps her up, tosses her little ass to the ground, says, "What's good?" And then Lindsay Allen goes after her along with JC Sheldon and Sophie Cunningham. Look at Sophie Cunningham taking it 2-on-1. Sophie Cunningham going 2-on-1 underneath the basket. Sophie Cunningham, salute.
The message was loud and clear. Caitlin Clark's not alone anymore. And that makes her even more dangerous. The Fever weren't just a rebuilding team, now they were a problem.
It is undeniable that Caitlin Clark is the engine.
Caitlin Clark effect. There has been so much of an influx in attendance, in jersey sales, and viewership, all the things.
That's about star power, narrative, and likability.
Caitlin Clark comes into the WNBA, goes through college. She has panache. She has style.
She's my role model. I really look up to her.
Why do you like Caitlin?
She's so good at basketball.
The jerseys, the number 22, the various styles, whether it's a t-shirt with 22, whether it's an Iowa jersey, whether it's a Fever jersey, a throwback, whatever. The amount of people in yellow 22 apparel is stunning.
Sophie drew the line. Caitlin crossed it with fire in her eyes. Now the whole league knows. If you come for Clark, you better come prepared for war. This isn't just basketball anymore, it's personal.
She looks like a varsity player going against JV. She had 5 rebounds in 19 seconds.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
5 rebounds in 19 seconds. I know everybody's saying, like, you shouldn't be able to do that, you're whatever the case. But imagine if she starts putting those in. That's going to be, she's potentially getting 40-40. Caitlin Clark is the needle mover.
No more cheap shots without payback. No more hits without answers. The league's biggest star finally has a protector. And the entire basketball world is watching.
Marina Mabrey body checking Caitlin Clark to the ground. JC Sheldon all over her, riding her. Pokes Caitlin Clark in the eye.
Marina Mabrey thought she could rough up Clark and move on. She forgot one thing Sophie was watching. And from now on, if you mess with Caitlin Clark, you're dealing with both of them. This isn't over. This is just the beginning.
There wasn't an explanation for the tech that she got. I think it was pretty obvious that stuff was brewing, right? When the officials don't get control of the ball game, when they allow that stuff to happen, and it's been happening all season long. All season long. It's not just this game, it's been happening all season long. This is what happens, right? This is what happens. You've got competitive women who are the best in the world at what they do, right? And when you allow them to play physical, and you allow these things to happen, they're gonna compete. And they're gonna have their teammates' backs. It's exactly what you expect, right? Out of fierce competitions.
Payback for what was happening the entire game. But she did it in a way that she wasn't going to injure JC. She was just making it known, like, if the refs aren't going to handle it, I will handle it.
So if not for nothing, she ended up with 20 points. She had a really good game. But you know what? I credit JC Sheldon for showing how to guard her.
Shout out to you for holding it down. Shout out to Sophie Cunningham. We need to be showering her with praise. Hit her on all her social medias. Tell her how much we love her.
Sophie, I think she was waiting on her, man. I think she wanted a piece of her so she can calm her down, man. And honestly, holding her there, just, hey, what you gonna do, man?
I'm clapping Sophie Cunningham off the floor.
WNBA rumors suggest Caitlin Clark will be among the first stars making $1 million annually. The most notable of which is, y'all already know who, the needle mover, Caitlin Clark.
So in 2024, she averaged 16.5 points per game, 4 assists, 5.5 rebounds. She shot 37% from the field and 31.8% from three. Now, if you look at her preseason in 2025, she only played 2 games in this preseason, and one was against that Brazilian national team. She played 21 minutes. She averaged 14.5 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. She shot 52.5% from the field and 50% from 3-point range.